While the Appalachian Weekly News would usually spend this time off-air, on hiatus, with the recent occurrences of the death of George Floyd and police brutality in America, where the news goes, we will follow. We've put together an episode covering the Black Lives Matter movement and localizing the news, so that you all in the Boone community and the High Country can stay informed and involved. We're covering a lot today, from a community altar for George Floyd on King Street to arrest resources for protesters.
Hundreds of people were brought together on King Street to march for the Black Lives Matter movement on Sunday. Families, students, and community members joined together to honor George Floyd and the other African American lives that have been lost to police brutality and racism.
We're all just sitting here. We're tired of sitting around and sitting back and letting this stuff continue to happen. And we just decided to put our words to action, and we made it happen today.
Police were at the march, but were only there to monitor the situation. During the protest, most of the police passed out waters and made sure people stayed out of the street.
Role here was in support of the march. We asked them if we could march with them, and they said yes, and asked us to be at the back, and so that was really our role.
The march started at the library circle on campus. Then the group moved down King Street to peaceably gather in front of the courthouse. Organizers of the event stood on the steps and spoke about the Black Lives Matter movement. The group had 8 minutes of silence to honor George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and the many other Black lives that have been lost. Then the group walked back to the library circle to finish the protest. At no point during the protest did any violence take place. Protesters were peaceful and were wearing masks to abide by COVID-19 standards. Now, a word from Anna Muckenfuss about a virtual vigil. Anna?
Thanks, Katie. Citizens of Boone don't have to look far to remember George Floyd. A local organization, Small and Mighty Acts, has created an altar for community members to go and pay their respects. The altar is located in front of the Jones House. Kara Hagen-Gelber is the founder of Small and Mighty Acts. Gelber says that the altar serves as a way for people to grieve, but is also a call to action.
I thought that doing a public but socially distant altar would be a good option in that everybody can come and co-create something together that will be on display all week leading up to our online vigil on Friday, and a way that people who are out and about can see what people are thinking and how people are wanting to be involved.
Small and Mighty Acts is hosting a virtual vigil in honor of George Floyd on June 5th. Gelber says that at this time, the organization is not planning an event where people will gather in person. For more information on Small and Mighty Acts, go to the Appalachian Weekly News Facebook page or go to our Instagram page. Now we go to Grace Smith for more special news coverage. Grace?
People around the country have joined together to protest George Floyd's death. But what happens when a protest takes a turn and participants are arrested? The first thing to do is to stay calm. Protesting peacefully is a constitutional right. If a law is not being broken, then an arrest is unlikely to happen. If laws are being violated at a protest, Boone PD Chief Andy LeBeau said to comply with law enforcement officials. To avoid being arrested, do not partake in any destruction of property, violence, or other illegal acts. Chief LeBeau said officers will remove unlawful protesters. There are also misconceptions regarding the rights protesters have when they are arrested. Officers do not have to say the Miranda rights to get basic information out of protesters. The Miranda rights are read to suspects in custody, advising them of their rights to remain silent. If there is a curfew in place while protests are going on, participants can get arrested for breaking curfew, whether the protests are peaceful or not.
Protests are happening every day. Stay safe and attend one in a group, not alone, while keeping coronavirus precautions in mind. Do your part in signing a petition. Check websites such as change.org offering petitions on anything and everything. Share on social media resources, helpful links, and raise awareness for what you find important right now. Many charities can be seen circulating the internet right now as well. When it comes to donating, we've compiled a list of charities and funds to donate to directly, and ways to help. The George Floyd Memorial Fund is the official GoFundMe for the Floyd family. It will cover funeral and burial expenses, mental and grief counseling, and lodging and travel for all court proceedings. A portion of these funds will go directly to the estate for George Floyd for the care of his children and towards their education.
Hundreds of people were brought together on King Street to march for the Black Lives Matter movement on Sunday. Families, students, and community members joined together to honor George Floyd and the other African American lives that have been lost to police brutality and racism. Police were at the march, but were only there to monitor the situation. During the protest, most of the police passed out waters and made sure people stayed out of the street. The march started at the library circle on campus. Then the group moved down King Street to peaceably gather in front of the courthouse. Organizers of the event stood on the steps and spoke about the Black Lives Matter movement. The group had 8 minutes of silence to honor George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and the many other Black lives that have been lost. Then the group walked back to the library circle to finish the protest. At no point during the protest did any violence take place. Protesters were peaceful and were wearing masks to abide by COVID-19 standards.
Para aquellos que buscan ayudar a los manifestantes, aquellos directamente afectados por la muerte de George Floyd, y para ayudar a trabajar hacia el fin de la brutalidad policial, hemos encontrado formas de apoyar el movimiento Black Lives Matter. Las protestas están sucediendo todos los días. Manténgase seguro y asista uno en un grupo, no solo, teniendo en cuenta las precauciones del coronavirus. Haz tu parte al firmar una petición. Consulte sitios web como change.org que ofrecen peticiones sobre cualquier cosa y todo. Comparten en las redes sociales recursos, enlaces útiles y conscientes sobre lo que considera importante en este momento. Se puede ver a muchas organizaciones beneficios circulando en Internet en este momento también. Cuando se trata de donar, hemos compilado una lista de organizaciones, beneficios y fondos para donar directamente y formas de ayudar. George Floyd Memorial Fund es el GoFundMe oficial para la familia de Floyd. Cubrirá los gastos de funeraria y entierro, asesoramiento mental y de duelo, alojamiento de viaje para todos sus procedimientos judiciales. Una parte de esos fondos también se destinará al patrimonio de George Floyd, para el cuidado de sus hijos y para su educación. Puede donar directamente a la Black Lives Matter Global Network, que defienden contra la violencia y el racismo sistémico hacia los afroamericanos en su sitio web, o encontrar un capítulo local cerca de usted. Campaign Zero es una campaña de reforma policial iniciada por activistas asociados con Black Lives Matter. Se centran en un plan de 10 propuestas individuales investigadas y basadas en todas destinadas a reducir la violencia policial. Están aceptando donaciones a través de PayPal. Compuesta por más de 60 fondos de fianzas y bonos comunitarios en todo el país, la National Bail Fund Network proporciona un directorio en línea para donar para estas cosas. La red también trabaja para abolir el sistema de fianzas y la prisión preventiva. Con todas las formas de ayudar, esperamos que encuentre un adecuado para usted de desear hacerlo.
Thank you for watching this week's update. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Grace Smith.